Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel. I don't know why I say hello, YouTube, as if all of YouTube is watching my channel at the same time, but oh well. So this is a video, and it's so crazy for me to even be saying this because I am one of those people who spent half their life looking at other people's content. So to say something like this is a little weird for me. So I'm going to need a bit of a drum roll. Here goes. This is a video that has been highly requested. No, let me stop playing. This is a video that has been highly requested, and to me, highly requested means more than two people asked if I could talk about this. And if you saw the title, you know I'm going to be talking about starting a YouTube channel and what made me want to start a channel in the first place. So I've answered this question on a couple of different things that I've done here in the YouTube space since I started my channel, different lives I've done with different YouTubers. I've answered this question in some podcasts that are going to be coming out, but I don't know what people will see. I don't know what brought the person who's currently watching this to my channel. So I'm going to answer this question again. I am old. No, but I'm older, and yet I represent a very specific demographic. I am single, I am childless, I'm also a Black woman. And when you mix all of that together, you have a very specific demographic that faces very specific social realities. Any of those elements I just mentioned would give a creator enough material to make a ton of content. But I wasn't seeing content out there that I thought fit what I knew I was going through. So I decided to make a couple of videos. Now, the videos have had different effects, some positive, some negative, but that was the original goal. Put content out there that people in your demographic dealing with the issues that you have dealt with in your life would be able to resonate with. And I didn't see it already out there. Another reason why I wanted to start a YouTube channel is because I wanted to change careers. And so I really saw myself producing, beautiful vlogs and like really nuanced media think pieces. Speaking of beautiful vlogs, there is a YouTuber who was a great inspiration to me. Her name is Chimdi. She does a wonderful job at making sure all of her videos are visually entertaining and aesthetic and beautiful to look at, on top of going and exploring some really comprehensive and complex themes in her content. As somebody who has a background in photography, I'm talking about myself now, someone who has a background in photography and graphic design, and of course, media production, I initially saw her content and I was like, it's just really beautiful to look at. And I thought, if I can create things like that, I can definitely change my career. As you know, I was working as a teacher. So I intended on making content like that, exploring the themes that I wanted to explore, and then taking the content on my channel and turning it into a reel so that I could show a company, hey, look at me, I can work for you. I don't think that I have accomplished that yet. I don't think I have anything that's real worthy at this time, but that's sort of a goal of mine as well. So those would be the two biggest reasons that I chose to start a YouTube channel. And I think so far I'm really living up to one of them as far as creating content that a certain demographic can really identify with. And on the other hand, I'm still learning to make things that are aesthetically pleasing to look at. That's going to be a journey for me, but that's sort of where I want to eventually go. So what do I think you should know before starting a YouTube channel? This is actually a topic that's covered by so many different content creators here on YouTube. There's people that talk about the gear you need. There's people that talk about setting up a home studio. There's people that talk about what the business of YouTube is really like. The way I'm going to do this video is I'm just going to lightly hit on each subject, and then I want you to check the description box down below if you're the type of person that's still really curious and you want to know more, which I highly suggest. I did some good research for this video. I found new tutorials and new videos that were informational that I had not watched yet that taught me things about the business of YouTube. And I feel like if I had watched them before I started, I might have started my channel off in a different way. Who's to say? Okay, so the first thing that people normally want to talk about is content. What content are you going to shoot? What are you going to put out there in the world? There's two ways in my mind of thinking about content. The first thing is, what do you really want to talk about? That's where I was coming from. I had been a fan of channels where people just kind of give their opinion about various things. They talk about pop culture, they talk about, social issues. That's what I was a fan of. So that's what I thought that I would come on and do. It wasn't until I started YouTube that I said, oh, I can actually also talk about really personal experiences, because I feel like talking about them will not only help me, but will help others feel like things aren't happening just in a vacuum. However, that content, if you're starting YouTube in order to make money, is actually some of the worst content that you can make. simply because it's not specific enough for advertisers that would pay to put their ads in your video. I'm going to get down to the business of YouTube as far as like the money aspect a little later on in this video, but just heads up, if you're wondering what kind of content do I put out there, I would definitely think about what is your ultimate goal with YouTube. Is it just to have a place to blow off some steam? I've definitely seen those channels out there. Is it a place to come to do tutorials? Is it a place to come to do reviews? Is it a place to come to talk about wealth and money management? I would just think about what you really, really want to accomplish with your content. What do I really want to do? And what's going to give me the most return on my investment? Because creating content is an investment. It's a time investment. Just today, this video I'm making right now, this is the third time I've shot this because the first two times I had something on my shirt and I had things in my teeth. I had taken a break and I came back and I was watching the footage and I was like, how many pieces of pepper can one person have in their teeth?
The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist.
Anyway, so that's time. And then, the editing that goes into it. It's also an emotional investment. There's been a lot of videos that have been coming out this year and articles about creator burnout. And I think people really should pay attention to this before they start creating content on YouTube. YouTube rewards people that upload with consistency. And I think one of the reasons why people really like TikTok is because they can just kind of turn on their phone and start talking. Whereas YouTube, there's definitely a look to videos that are on this platform. There's definitely a style, like there's something people expect a polished, completed video. And if you're trying to produce that consistently, that can sort of weigh on you. And also, let's say you're putting all that time in and you're not getting the love from the algorithm. It's not pushing your videos out. My highest viewed video right now has like 500 something thousand views, but it's not necessarily better than anything else on my channel. It's just the one that, for whatever reason, caused controversy and people want to see it and see what I'm talking about. But it doesn't represent all of me. So when I do make a video that I feel represents me more and it only gets like 8,000 views, that's a little disheartening. So you want to make sure you're prepared for the up and down nature of being a creator on this platform. Be realistic with yourself about, what you're going to be able to accomplish as far as what could happen and then what also could not happen. I think it's a good idea to have like a balance of both of those things. Hey, I could come on here and my channel could blow up. I could pull a Kelly Stamps and get like 400,000 followers in a year and I could have, this great experience, or I could come on here and I could put a lot of effort in and, barely end the year with 800 subscribers. I think that you have to consider that as well before you start to create content. Okay, so after you get the content questions out of the way, you're emotionally ready to do it and you know what you want to talk about, we got to talk about gear. Do not be like me and be so obsessed with gear and how things look that you end up wasting about a year before you start your channel. I said in another video that I really think that my content is best fit for can't even call this a post-pandemic world anymore. So a post-2020 world, because I do think people are a little bit more empathetic and emotionally open and understanding. And that's the kind of attitude that my content requires. However, I waited a really long time to start a channel because I just felt like I did not have the right equipment. You can start a YouTube channel with your cell phone. And below, I'm going to link a great tutorial on how to just set up a cell phone on a tripod and start filming. You can also go a little bit further and really, really invest in the look and the feel of your channel. My channel doesn't have the look and feel I want it to have yet. I love, like I said, what Chimdi does, but I also love videos that look like this. I'm very interested in lighting. I'm very interested in camera quality and lens quality. And these are all things that are going to grow with me as I grow as a content creator. But not having those things should not stop you from creating. There's actually ways you can make videos and content on YouTube without even being on camera. I was really surprised at all the different ways that you can make a YouTube account work for you and you're not even sitting in front of the camera. Down below, I'm going to link some tutorials to home studios, to lighting. Just know it doesn't need to be a complicated setup for you to start your channel. You can grab your cell phone, you can set it up on a tripod, you can open a window, because natural light is great. You can take your phone outside, set it on a tripod, as long as people can still hear you, and you can create content. And the most important thing is to just start where you are, because you can always, always, always grow from there. All right, after we talk about gear and you know what you want to shoot and you have something to shoot it, how are you going to edit it and pull it together? So I talked earlier in another video that I did about Google Video. I love it because it is it's very low priced and it's very beginner friendly, and also it doesn't require a lot of storage. So like when you go out and shoot something, video files are notoriously really big, and so a lot of times you'll need an external hard drive, and along with the hard drive you have on your computer. But with WeVideo, everything is kept in the same cloud that like you keep your emails and stuff in because it's connected to Google. So if you have a Gmail account, it's all there. And you don't need to be on a specific computer to edit. So like let's say, you're editing on your laptop and then that dies, and okay, I can go to my desktop computer. There's even a phone application that you can use to pull everything together. I love WeVideo, like I said, because it is so beginner friendly, and it also is very cheap. Other editing programs out there that people are probably familiar with, you got Premiere Pro, which is what I use. You've got Final Cut. You have iMovie, which is the free editing software that comes with any Mac device. So there's lots and lots of different ways to edit your footage together. And when it comes to learning how to edit, there's tons of tutorials and tons of ways to learn how to do that as well. But most editing systems are going to operate the same way. You've got a timeline, you take your clips, you bring them down, you organize them in a certain amount of ways, and you export out that finished product, upload it to YouTube. I will say this about editing: it can be very time consuming. So one thing that you might want to do is you might want to say, okay, well, I'll shoot the video, but then I'll hire an editor. You can hire an editor for a price depending on a website like Fiverr. You can, maybe somebody in your family who knows how to do it. You can pay them whatever and do it. I like to edit my own things, especially now at the beginning, because I like to have control over the means of production at this point. But definitely, if I ever became busier as a creator, I would look into someone else editing the footage, because yeah, it can take long. Like, takes maybe 30 minutes to shoot a video, and I like it, everything's great, and then that's also going to be 3 hours of editing perhaps, or 2 hours of editing, you know what I mean? So if I could pass that along to someone, I might. However, I am going to link some editing tutorials for WeVideo, for Premiere Pro, and for iMovie below. And just remember that pretty much any editing system you use, they're going to work the same. Clips, timeline, cut them together. And there's tons of tutorials all over YouTube that show you how to do more and more with any editing system that you choose. Okay, so you know how to edit, and now you got your channel going, you're uploading some videos, everything's great. Boom, one day you have 1,000 subscribers. Now you can get into YouTube's partner program, or at least you can apply to get into it. Sometimes they say, no, we don't like what you're doing over there. You got to change some things up and then we'll let you in. Also, when it comes to monetization, they're a lot faster than they used to be. I was watching one tutorial where they said something like, oh, it takes months to be monetized a couple years ago. It honestly took me, once I reached 1,000 subscribers, it took me about 2 weeks to get monetized. Once you get monetized on YouTube, you can start making money on your videos. And the way you make money is by setting up an AdSense account, which means that advertisers have paid Google to put their ads in certain videos, and now you get to take part of that as a YouTube partner. Your AdSense revenue is really going to depend on a lot of things, but specifically what kind of content you have and how long people are watching your content. This subject is multifaceted. If you're not a math person like me, I'm not a math person. I had to watch things again and again to understand, but I have linked below 2 excellent tutorials that explain exactly how to make money on YouTube. But the thing I walked away with from both of those tutorials and from my experience so far, just because a video is longer doesn't necessarily mean you'll make more money on it. And the content that you choose to make can really determine the investment that you get back, the return investment you get back on your content. Like I said, I've had videos that I really work hard on. Like, for example, my first episode of Very Necessary. And right now it's the only episode because it took like 8 hours to make. Well, no, like 6 hours to make, to get all the clips together, to get all the little things together that I wanted to use, to fix the sound, to edit everything down. And then YouTube said, we can't monetize this because I used a song from the MCU universe from WandaVision. I used It Was Agatha All Along. I used that song. And so YouTube said, nope, we're not going to monetize this. And I never changed it because I didn't want to. But that's a lot of time spent to not make any money on that, right? And even the things that I've made that are generating an income, because they're not the type of things that advertisers are willing to spend big money on, I haven't made as much money as I could have made on them. So definitely check out the videos about how to make money on YouTube, what YouTube niches or types of videos make the most money. And I'm only stressing that because, once again, creating content and putting yourself out there for the whole world to see. YouTube is, the number one video search engine, owned by the number one search engine in the world. So you don't even know who might see your content and who might see your videos. So that's a lot of exposure. You at least want to know that you can possibly make a return on that exposure, like that it all wasn't for nothing. I want to say this too, though. Once your content starts to grow, your subscribers start to grow, you will be approached by people who are looking to do sponsorships and video collaborations. And what that means is basically they'll pay you a certain amount just to make the video. So you don't necessarily have to worry too much about like an AdSense. So you could make a video about, and a company says, that sounds great. As long as you stop in the middle and talk about our great brand of toothpaste, we don't care. We'll pay you $5,000 for that video. So you made $5,000 with or without AdSense. But once again, who reaches out to you really depends on your content and how well it's produced. I know another way people make money on YouTube from their content is like opening a Patreon. They also have, YouTube memberships. I understand why people do this, because some content, some things they want to talk about, expose them in new ways. And so, or they give really personal details, or they have opinions that won't be popular opinions. So they put them behind a paywall. When I first started my YouTube channel, I didn't see the need for that for any of my content. But now that my number one most viewed video is a video where I was being extremely vulnerable and talking about something that was a highly contested opinion that I have about myself and about life, that video would have been something that I put behind a paywall. That would have been something that I would have said, and now for my Patreon users, I have a video about pretty privilege. That's what I would have done with that. But I didn't know any better. I was just putting stuff out into the world. So, lesson learned. Okay, so those are the things I think you need to know before starting a YouTube channel. You absolutely have to know what kind of content you're going to make. Please be aware that your content is allowed to change and to shift, because at the end of the day, it's called YouTube. It's what you want to do with your channel. Also be aware that based on what you want to do, you can either make a lot of money and have a lot of subscribers and everything can go great, or you cannot have that experience. So while I encourage, people being as individual and as authentic as possible, also know that, that may not pay off, or it may pay off. I don't know. It's a gamble. I didn't go over in this video keywords and SEO. I have linked an amazing tutorial below that talks all about keywords and SEO, and it even gives some great tools that you can use to figure out what people are talking about and what ideas you can use to create your content around. All right, well, good luck to anybody who watched this and was wondering about those things. I hope I answered some questions. Please, please, please watch the tutorials linked below. I am going to come back next week with a lot more of my own content. I kind of wanted to give myself a little break, because in just a few amount of months, I have managed to make 35 videos. I don't know how I did that, but I did. So I wanted to give myself a little break, but I will be back next week, and I will be posting 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, until I don't. So yeah, that's the plan. Thanks for watching.